Hey everyone, welcome back to the PC Perspective Podcast. We're at episode 728. This is being recorded on June 21st, 2023. That's right, the year is almost half over. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Brett Van Sproonberg.
And I'm Kent Burgess, replacing Sir not appearing in this episode.
Yeah, Josh is on the road, so all of Josh's fans, you might be tuning out right now. Please, though, consider sticking around, because we have some stuff to talk about.
I have a burger.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Let's just, we'll briefly mention the usual stuff, patreon.com/PCPer. Go there and put your name here.
We'll add it.
And maybe we'll bring Josh back.
Let's go to Kent in an undisclosed location. Kent, you ate a burger this week. Is that correct?
I did. I had a burger today. For my 20th wedding anniversary, my wife and I went to probably the best burger place in Asheville, North Carolina.
Ooh.
It's a restaurant called
Please
Juicy
don't say
Lucy's.
McDonald's. Oh,
No,
that's much better.
Juicy Lucy's. They have a really wide choice. You can choose the type of protein you put on your burger, from standard ground beef to bison to chicken to pork ribs, whatever you want. And then they've got a variety of toppings. I was slightly disappointed. They used to have a burger that was, I believe they called it the Aloha, that had grilled pineapple and a teriyaki barbecue sauce that was absolutely just wonderful. And they don't offer that anymore. So this is a bison burger with applewood smoked bacon, cheddar cheese, sweet potato fries, and a tangy barbecue sauce in the container there. And up above that is a peanut butter and strawberry jelly milkshake. Fantastic.
Sorry, what?
That sounds horrible.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Peanut butter
Did they blend
and strawberry jelly? Is that what you just said?
And it's actually, and that's crunchy peanut butter as well.
Did they blend the bread in as well, or did they?
No,
they must have, right?
No. But it was, they have a variety of milkshakes. Last year, I believe I had a pecan pie milkshake there that was wonderful. And they change the flavors out on the milkshakes regularly. So I thought I would give that a try, and it was really fantastic.
Yeah, we're not going to bury the lead. I mean, it's probably the thumbnail to this podcast. Intel has discontinued the Arc A770 graphics card. Notice I didn't say
Limited edition
GPU. Yes, this is just clickbait. It's EOL. It really was a limited edition. There's a product change notification. It's PCN 119.598-00. There's a PDF linked in the article at PCPer.com. I screenshotted it for you, though. The A770 graphics card, product discontinuance, end of life, June 30, 2023. That's the limited edition, the 16 gigabyte version. It's been out of stock for a while. Well, it's never coming back.
Oh, BH Photo still has one.
Rolled away.
They did. So I tweeted out a link to that earlier. Not affiliated or anything. Just, hey, want one of these things before they disappear forever?
So I did look on Newegg earlier, and the non-Intel version of the 770 16 gigabyte by, I believe, is it ASRock that does?
Non-limited edition.
Non-limited edition, but it's still the 16 gigabyte, which only in the Intel card is only, this is the only 16 gigabyte version.
Yeah, because the other one is the ByWin. No, wait a minute. Okay. This is where it gets confusing.
No,
there's a cheaper one on Amazon right now, and it's the ASRock Phantom Gaming Arc, but it's only 8 gigs. That's 310.50.
There was a 16 gig earlier, and it's the different ASRock model. Yes, it's the Acer model.
No, yeah, it's the ByWin, aka Acer Predator Arc A770.
And that was it's gone up $10 since I was on the website an hour and a half ago. It was $329 earlier.
Demand, it's...
I was thinking about making that my pick of the week, but I elected for another one.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, it's a sad day not because I think this is the end of Arc or anything. It's just that that was the go-to 16 gigabyte card for around $300, $350 if you were interested in testing out Arc. And there's yet another driver today, by the way. They
Yes,
just keep
I saw
on
that.
updating it and updating it and updating it. It gets better and better. My concern about this is without Intel selling their own card, and the fact that your partners consist only of ASRock and the new Acer, which is a company called Bywin, using the Acer and Predator names. That's it. Those are your two options. And only one of those is 16 gigabytes. So if Acer decides to stop selling a 16 gigabyte Arc A770, then it's just over.
Yeah, you're going to need Battlemage really quick if they stop doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to see Battlemage really quick.
I thought that was next year.
Yeah, I think we're still more than 6 months off.
I really hope they don't kill it. I think that they've got a good future in it if they can just stick with it, especially with the drivers. Every time they come out with new drivers, the performance just keeps getting better and better and better and better. So much better than when it first released in pretty much every title. And it's really become a very viable card at the price range now. The 770 16 gig and the 750 8 gig is really where it's at as far as value.
Yeah, no, I mean, they never officially said this, but these were always sort of a proof of concept to say, hey, yeah, we're Intel and we can make a graphics card. And we're not going to be discreet about it. So, yeah, without the next, if they try and kill it off now, that would be ridiculous. I'd love to see what the next generations can be when you've got the experience of putting out an entire, card. Like, I want to say a generation of card, but I mean, it's the very first generation. But you've put out an entire line. You've learned some stuff. You figured some stuff out. You are apparently got an amazing driver team. So as long as you don't fire them and you keep up with the next silicon, I mean, it would be silly to dump this right now. Although they could also say, wow, this would be really good if we've just focused on HBM and try to compete with AMD and NVIDIA in that end of the market, which is worth a lot more than you gamers. I mean, we pretend to love you and all, but you really aren't got the cash that a large corporation has. So if it dies, I bet that's what it'd be. I really hope it doesn't, though. I'd like to see a next generation or 3.
Projections had it at the 4 nanometer node from TSMC. And at earliest was going to be Q2 of 2024. So that's when we could hope to see Z2. I hope I pronounced that one right.
Seems too late.
It does. So we have quite a lot of time between now and then before they have a legitimate higher end for them replacement. And that's going to be about the 4070 Ti supposedly best guesstimate range of performance.
That clearly is not a market they want to play in. If they're discontinuing that card, they have virtually no partner support here in this country anyway. Look at their Twitter account, Intel Graphics on Twitter. And the latest tweet from them is an A750. And then they're featuring an A750 again, talking about performance increases with XeSS. The last several things from Intel I've seen only talk about the A750. So it seemed like the writing was on the wall that they were going to be moving on from that and just focus on the mid-range. Because, A770 is kind of, I guess, upper mid-range, though. Don't sell that to NVIDIA because apparently the new mid-range is $400. So,
yes.
The 778 gig did not outperform the 750 by much at all, single percentage points in most applications. The 770 16 gig was substantially better in some titles, but I can see that the 770 might not be selling where the 750 could be selling very well. Because as we saw in the sales graph for graphics cards last week, Intel's little blue line at the bottom of the chart was the only one that was trending up. Those red and green lines were going down quickly. People are showing that they're not wanting to spend $400 on a 60 series card there, or whatever
What?
anybody's asking.
I can't.
This is true. Yeah. I mean, the economy is not in a great place.
I'm glad that Kent is on here because I enjoy, asking him questions about some of the choices that he's made with his builds. And, recently he came to his senses and realized that a 12900KS is just not going to cut it anymore because there's a 13900KS available. And you did get that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's irrelevant now because it has an I in the name. It's passe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Intel is rebranding desktop processors. The era of the i9 is over. Now it's going to be Core 9. So just forget about the I, and that's it. No problem. Just Core i9.
There is
i5,
no I in
i7.
Intel?
Well, I mean, this isn't the 486 era anymore. You don't need the I.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, Core 3.
Intel
Core
has
5.
only one eye, so it doesn't have depth perception.
I don't see a problem with this. And then, wait a minute. There has to be a confusing part. Always. It can't just be a shift from i3 to 3. No, because there's also going to be a new line of processors called Ultra. So there'll be an Ultra.
Where have I
9
heard this?
And a 9.
Where have I heard this? I've heard this before.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Somewhere. It escapes me.
Somewhere out there.
So they haven't decided on the final processor numbering yet. So that's going to add another layer of confusion, possibly, because there's going to be a number, and then an unknown, and part of their brand strategy.
Well, how long could you hold out at 5 digits for? Like, that was getting ridiculous.
Does the Ultra take the place of a product like K and KS?
Apparently not, but yes.
So, okay, what is a non-Ultra then? Is that the KF or just the one without the letter at the end? Or I don't know.
I can't wait to see the mobile branding for this and how many numbers and letters are going to be on that now.
Intel rebranding, that's the key. That's the answer to everything. So are they still going to have the gen modifier? It's going to be 14th gen, 15th gen, that kind of a thing?
Well, they don't have to do it for the first time they do it. But for the second generation of Ultra, now they have to figure out what it is that they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Is it going to be the Ultra Mega 9?
And that's
The
not
Ultra
coming
Hyper 9?
until Meteor Lake. So my understanding is the 14th gen we've got coming this fall is not the new architecture, and it will be 14900, 14700, whatever. That's my current understanding of what I've read.
Yeah, the rumor is that it's just a refresh.
A refresh. And so everyone had been thinking that the Z690 and 790 boards were a dead end. But at Computex, we saw several manufacturers showing new boards that they're going to be releasing later this year. And when I was actually updating the BIOSes on my 2 gigabyte motherboards to prevent the security flaw in them, one of the things that the new BIOSes said, in addition to patching the security issue, was that they are supporting next-gen Intel processors. So that tells me that this is going to be LGA 1700, and 690 and 790 boards are going to be able to run this process.
Yeah, take that, AMD, with your AM4 Z790. It's the new. Wait, no, it's Z690. Z690 is the new AM4. Generation after generation of
Pleasing customers.
I think it would be LGA 1700 would be the more accurate.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. It would be.
I do think it is really crass of them, though, to suggest that a Meteor refreshed Raptors. I mean, that's a little too soon, isn't it?
I see where you're trying to go.
It's an old joke.
All right, let's move on.
Indeed.
So Germany.
Our next Intel news story on the podcast.
Wo ist das Fab?
German.
Nice.
Oh, this is a fabulous story, by the way, from Jeremy Hellstrom
Thank you.
about that mega fab. They got something like 10 billion euros maybe 11.
Yeah, 11. Well, no,
Dunk-
the equivalent of 11 billion US.
Okay.
So
Danka
call it
Intel.
9 billion euros.
So they're going to build a new fab in Germany. They're going to break ground in the second half of this year.
2 mega fabs.
Oh, okay. And it's not ready anytime soon. This is coming online in 2027 if all goes well, writes Jeremy Hellstrom at PCPer.com.
But no, Intel is really getting serious about diversifying where their fabs are for, relatively obvious reasons for anyone that's paying attention. So the Polish fab is getting expanded by 50% and will be done later this year, but won't be until 4, like the 2 German ones will. And so we're Ireland. The Ireland fab is also going to be Intel 4 as well. There's a couple of others that they're putting up I think it's just one very large one in Israel, and they've already broken ground officially now, I think, on a couple of sites in the US. So they're getting serious about spreading themselves around and trying not to get wiped out by a single disaster. It's interesting.
And if there's any countries in the world you can count on not to have political upheaval, it's Germany, Ireland, and Israel.
And Poland.
And Poland, yeah.
I mean, and you guys down south, you do that every once in a while.
I couldn't help but think of your 69 million year old joke when you started talking about a singular disaster and the meteor lake metaphor. But anyway,
it's going to be a theme now.
Moving on.
Yes. Let's talk about something other than Intel. Let's talk about AMD. Let's keep things fair and balanced.
Goodness, yes.
Yes.
But also, this is another depressing topic because if you didn't need any more proof that graphics card overclocking this generation is kind of dead. Let's look at the FPS review trying to overclock the RX 7600 because, what else are you going to do? It's an affordable card, but the performance is fine, but it's not super exciting. So why not buy a cheap card and just overclock the snot out of it like we used to back in the old days?
Yeah.
Is there any gas in the tank? Did AMD leave performance on the table with the 7600?
They didn't leave you enough power envelope to be able to find out, really. Because the most they could do was feed an extra 12% power. And there was a hard limit there. So, exactly what are you going to do? Because, all the cool kids are underclocking now and undervolting. So, so they capped out at a 12% boost in the adrenaline. And that literally they managed 150 megahertz higher on the RAM. And the GPU got an eye-screaming 100 megahertz. It's going from 2.9 gigahertz to 3.
It all paid off because look at the results. In Returnal at 1080p, epic graphic settings, they went from 81 frames per second to 83.
I do have to note that they specified that they are using an upscaler in order to get these stratospheric FPS.
Like it's Callisto Protocol. 65 frames per second up from 63. With HQ upscaling in both cases.
Hey, that was 62.7, not 63.
I was rounding up, but yes,
true.
It's a full 2.3 frames per second faster on average in that game. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 goes from 104 to 107 with the overclock. You can expect low single-digit FPS increases from overclocking just about any GPU this generation, not just AMD. It's depressing. I bought a 560 Ti at one point in my life and overclocked it to the point where I was checking benchmark results against the stuff that was out there, and I got it pretty much on par with a 570. So I was very happy. You get the Ti, you move up to the 70 with overclocking. You could do that with the 600 series, I think the 700 series. I didn't have any 900 series cards, so I don't know about that, but it's just not really a thing anymore. The major
looks like mid 150 watt was about as much as hard as they could push that 7600. I'm going to guess, which is on par with it's underneath a 2060 at 165 watts. Previous generation looks like that maxed out at about 172, the 6600 XT. So that's the realm they're playing in. 4060 Ti, which is a lot of people's favorite card now, from my understanding, is about 159 watt, about as far as that one could be pushed.
I wish Josh were here because he could explain to us that the reason there's not a whole lot of overclocking headroom with modern graphics cards is because they are really pushing things as far as they can.
They're tight.
Yeah,
they're so tight.
They're already maximizing performance. So the
they came up with algorithms, internal algorithms that allow maximizing the performance of the card via power application scaling, things of that nature that pretty much optimize the card fairly well out of the box. And manual overclocking, unless you're going to do, as Sebastian was saying, some sort of manual undervolting, you're pretty much out of luck.
Yeah, it's a weird new world where undervolting is the biggest thing now, and honestly, sometimes pays off.
Exactly. Higher clock speed,
lower
power draw, lower temps.
I think Der Bauer has in a couple of his videos brought up why undervolting is so important to him, because in Germany, where he is, electricity is really expensive compared to the United States. I'm not sure what it's like in Canada, but in Europe, it's very high. And so the people over there are very big into undervolting these cards, that especially like 4080s, because Der Bauer has shown that you can undervolt a 4080 down to like 250 watts, and it performs like 99% of what it does stock at a much higher power draw.
That's not hyperbole. I think it's more on the range of maybe 40-ish% undervolt, and you're within 90% of the maximum performance of the card right in that era. But it's a very significant, and you're right about the electricity costs in Europe and many other countries where undervolting is very popular.
But hey, forget about that 7600, because you can buy an RTX 4060 Ti right now at newegg.com for $380. That's right. It's $20 off. I don't think the market liked that $400 price very much.
I read this is one of the fastest intro to price reductions like in the history of GPUs. It's like right in there of like unbelievably quick. This is still probably overpriced, but they're heading in the right direction.
Whatever happened to their sister site? Is that still around?
Oh, just GPU. Let's check in on that, shall we?
Let's move on to a story about the internet of SEO optimization.
This looks like Google. What are you talking about?
Are you telling me that Google search results are becoming less and less reliable every day?
Speaking of farcical.
You haven't noticed yet?
Yeah.
Or did you drink the Kool-Aid they sent you?
No, I've noticed that there's more garbage.
You've got a brainworm now. That's No, this is, and I did not have much time because I've got a full bloody rant behind this. Because SEO optimization bugs me to the very core of my being. It's keywords and backlinks that you can actually, if you just decide to buy 8 different sites and put them up, and all you do is backlink between each other, you're good chance that Google is not even going to bloody well notice this. But we have found another way that AI is going to ruin everything. SEO optimization and large language models are a match made in heaven, because people are searching and they're looking for stuff that has keywords in it, and large language models go out and find keywords. And so you can now hire an SEO optimization company, which will use a large language model to pad the descriptions of your products, so that all of a sudden you are selling a coat hanger, but it is describing how eco-friendly the metal will be, the handcrafted spinning of the final, and they will just pump it full of keywords that the search engines will pick up on, because that's what the search engines are trained on.
Our pot metal is sustainably farmed.
Yes. but they will literally dump that in there. It doesn't have to mean anything. As a human, you're never going to read the bloody full description that goes on for 18 paragraphs with eight glossy 10. Where did it go? 8 by 10 glossy color pictures with pictures and arrows and a full paragraph on the back of each one. You're never going to read that, but the search engines do.
Right.
And now the search engine, which is a large language model, is getting fed by a large language model, and they are in love. And so if you pay for this service will ensure that you bury everyone around you. So that if you're a little small mom and pop shop, or you're just someone starting out with a new product, unless you pay, you are never going to show up in search results anymore. And the thing is that you can't really you can't really fix Google search, because this is how it was built in the beginning. You would have to toss it out and start it up all over again. So yeah, the portable lamp will have 18 descriptions, including, farm to table in there somewhere, because that's what SEO loves. That's what search engines love.
And
the Reddit blackout has...
These are AIs talking to each other?
Yes. Well, no, they're large language models spewing bullshit into each other's mouths in some sort of vomitorium that is just horrible to picture. But seriously, it is that bad.
There should be an accompanying graphic.
I think that's the worst sentence I've ever heard in my life.
No.
Thank you. But it's going to get worse because I can use an LLM to make it worse. Yeah, this is the way that it's going to go. And because it is sort of the basis of what Sergey and Paige decided to do for their Google search, there's no, it's not a bug, it's a feature. And it's going to be harder and harder to find things. And I was going to say that with the Reddit blackout, I mean, that was, if you were trying to find an answer, there were two things to do. Either you posted a wrong answer to someone's question and immediately got corrected, or you added Reddit to the search. And so you wanted to pull it from Reddit where people were actually talking and the search terms were based off of what you were looking for, not what the search engine thought. It's, and yeah, Central Kazoo, fair enough. It's the ads too, although the ads at this point are so superfluous, and 90% of the time I can't even tell what the ad is until the logo comes up at the very end. It's just.
Can I just advocate that
sooner or later
that people perhaps try DuckDuckGo as for their search? Just try it. I think it's slightly better. It's less intrusive in this manner anyway.
It's less horrible.
Yes, it's less horrible.
I've actually been experiencing this with DuckDuckGo as well, where it seems to be pulling up just a humongous ton of crap for search results before you actually get to what you were looking for.
Sounds like Bing.
The pile might be slightly not quite as deep as it is.
It's not as bad, but yeah, it's not as bad, but it's worse than it was.
True.
And I've actually been wondering, why is this suddenly gotten so crappy? And until I saw this story, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, because it's weaponized as well.
Yeah.
So even though DuckDuckGo is trying not to do it, and it also
being
uses
poisoned,
Bing, like the
being poisoned is what you're saying. The glue meter.
Because
what engine does
designed.
DuckDuckGo use?
Oh, I don't remember. It's been a long time.
Is it actually its own, or does it use Google?
It used to be, which is why I say I don't know right now. But yeah, no, it was like it pulls a lot from Bing, but it filters out a lot of the. Like if you search for an answer from Microsoft, DuckDuckGo would come up with a site from Microsoft. Bing would not come up with a Microsoft site. So it's a bit better.
Isn't Bing based on Yahoo search originally? There's a lot of cross-pollination with search engines.
Yeah, well, that's why I ask.
Okay, well.
Anyway.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
Have I ruined
choices
things
are
enough?
few out there. Choices are few out there. Choose your search engine wisely.
Yes. You can't win. You can try to... You just need to educate yourself on how to parse through the nonsense.
Wade through it.
Yeah, but
to do that.
The nonsense will now be 800 pounds of vomit for that one little bit. That's going to be worth it.
You're invoking the visual again. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, it's that's exactly what it is.
Speaking of visuals,
Better
look at
than
this.
You're not going to say it
olfactory
before Brett again,
sensation.
are you?
Look at this picture.
Yes, I
of a
am.
beautiful big box store that sells computer parts. What is this business called, Brett?
Perhaps you can't read it from here, but it's called Microcenter. I'm thinking of a new. I'm thinking of a new segment for the show called Feel Good Story of the Week. This would definitely fall under the Feel Good Story of the Week. Microcenter is branching out beyond just their announced Indianapolis store, now coming to 2 new cities.
Wow.
Miami, Florida, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Isn't that awesome?
When all 3 new stores open, the company will have a total of 28 stores in 19 states. Wow. That's really close to 50.
Yeah, it is.
How many
Now,
provinces?
if you go in and sign up on there's some pages that are up for the Charlotte and Miami store. If you go sign up for a notification email for when the store is live, you'll get a coupon to come into the store and get a free 128 gigabyte flash drive. So, just throwing it out there. Unpaid sponsorship. Just a fan of the store here for my local Microcenter.
Does Microcenter have merch? Can we get Microcenter shirts and hats and just wear them on the show?
I
almost
guarantee
wish
you.
that we could. This story has brought Kent to tears, for goodness sakes.
Yes.
Listen to that.
That's
him
beautiful.
Charlotte.
Charlotte at the speed limit's only about an hour and a half away, and in my AMG, it's less than that.
It's time for Security Corner, and we have to talk about routers again. Have you updated the firmware on your Asus router yet? You need to.
If you haven't, you should unplug it.
When do we have a story that doesn't have a hacked router? I don't know. It's been a while.
I think the next one, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, no, a bunch of Asus routers. The list is there, but it ranges from the crazy looking spider one to some of their more basic ones. ROG just straight through the Asus bog standard. They have some serious vulnerabilities, my favorite of which is almost 5 years old and allows arbitrary code execution on the router. But they finally fixed it, including a nice one that not only allows them to provide denial of service on you, but also execute code. And so more or less they turn you into a source for the distributed denial of service that they're doing to other people to get them to do it. So yeah, the update is very quick. The Asus has put together a nice, you can either go to a full support website, which just lists all of them, or you can go to your specific one. But yeah, you probably want to do this like right frickin' now. And apparently part of the download when you're installing the firmware is a reminder that, by the way, if you're still using the password that's shipped with this router, you should reconsider life choices because that's just dumb. I'm paraphrasing, but seriously, don't leave the default password on the router. I mean, sure, there's still probably one hardwired in that you can't fix, but just don't put the GUI one. Just change it, please.
Let's move on
To making fun of Amazon? Yeah, this seems wise.
Is that what this is? Hackers use-
We're going to get cut off.
You know,
again.
they're gonna figure this out and go cut that stream. This is interesting. The exploit is obvious when you sort of figure out what it is that's going on here, but they've obfuscated the technique that the hackers are actually applying here. What the hackers have noticed for several open source packages that are hosted out of Git or wherever is that many of them, rightfully and reasonably so, fetch certain elements of what they need when they start up, like a version of a latest injectable item from a secure link, which is often an Amazon S3 bucket. Because those S3 buckets are attached to an account, and those accounts need to be attached to a way to recuperate the dollars that it takes to run such a thing. Sometimes those expire. Okay. But the software outlives that expiration at Amazon. So you end up with what appears to be an abandoned S3 bucket. And that means that the software startup is referring to a bucket name that is essentially free for the taking.
So
And
there's
go
a
ahead.
hole in my bucket, dear Liza.
Yes.
Dear Liza,
Yeah.
there's a hole in my bucket.
That's kind of the case here. So the software dutifully starts up, goes to an S3, a named S3 bucket, and helpfully grabs a named file and pulls it down and runs it and it injects it and installs it just like it's programmed to do, except the account that was owning that S3 bucket has expired, or it's no longer maintained properly, and that name essentially becomes up for grabs. So hackers are starting to tune into these bucket names that are no longer being properly maintained and owning them. And then looking at what the software that was referencing those buckets is doing, creating an installable piece that it would have normally grabbed as part of its normal startup, and helpfully allowing that legitimate software to grab something illegitimate and hackish, pull it into your system, and inject it with malware. Helpfully so. So is Amazon at fault here? Not especially. It's hard to say, what's really going on here. But Amazon is convenient, for finding these sorts of things and using it to facilitate nastiness.
Zytel. I've never heard of them. Am I in the minority? Do they make
Yes.
NAS, network attached storage devices?
Yeah, no, these
And
are-
routers, networking gear. They make a variety of standalone network fixtures.
and they're popular with hackers because they are low cost, but yet so juicy, so very, very juicy. And so the firewalls, the VPNs, and of course the actual products were hit hard. Like it was a concerted effort to try and get in there. It's nasty because there are a couple of them that they still have no workarounds or mitigations for. There are some patches so that you're only partially vulnerable, which is kind of nice. But, there's some weird malicious HTTP request that they're doing, which, boom, all of a sudden you don't need authentication and you can get into really what you shouldn't be able to. They're keeping a lot of the details quiet, which means, of course, that we haven't patched it. We'd like you to know about it, but we can't give you details about what the attack is because it hasn't been patched yet. And hey, that's fair. But yeah, you really at this point, if you've got a Zytel NAS, do not expose it to the internet. Period. End of sentence. Just lock it down. Get it off now. The call is coming from inside the house at this point.
Yeah, they will find you. You will be hacked, and you won't know it.
Yeah.
And then you'll be a bad actor.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
It's time for gaming quick hits, and it's demo time. Steam Next Fest. Say that 3 times fast. Runs until Monday.
Yep. But becoming more frequent than it used to be. Like this used to be like a sort of a once a year thing, and now I'm like, wait a second, I've already played this one. Steam has been nice, and they've sort of broken it down a little bit so that you can actually pick by genre of game, or you want multiplayer, single player, you want it to be like really dark and grim dark, or do you want it to be casual and fun? So you can actually filter a little bit to try and chew through all of them. Rock, paper, scissors rock, paper, shotgun, and they'll shoot me for that, was nice enough to choose 14 that they liked. But hey, just dig around. There are some repeats from previous ones, but there are some really interesting looking ones. I mean, I remember Commandos, and Commandos was great. I never did play Batman Arkham Asylum, but apparently there's a swashbuckling game with the same sort of combat style where you're looking at color-coded things to hit. But instead of being Batman, you're a 17th century swashbuckler. I think I was thinking about trying that one out. There's Of course, the story ones. Good Lord, there's a couple of Souls-like, shockingly. A couple of
Lies of
city
P.
builders. It's apparently based on the Adventures of Pinocchio. I've never heard of this one before. I've never even played a Souls-like. I'm sure I suck at them, but I'm kind of curious what Pinocchio meets Bloodborne is kind of like. That, I mean, the original Pinocchio was kind of dark, but not that dark. So interesting to see. But the thing is that until Monday, you've got a whole crap load of demos to try out. And you should. Because we all need to buy more Steam games we will never play because they just get added to the end of the queue.
Yep, I liked that line in your review that suggested that we needed more games that we weren't actually playing in our Steam.
I mean
library.
to. I plan on it.
Thank you for telling the truth. It's the truth.
Seriously.
We don't like to admit it, but it's true for a lot of us.
No, I'm going to finish the Bagger Saga one day. I swear it.
I think that unplayed Steam games is actually the holding up the economy of the video game business entirely.
It's also a great name for a band.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Steam backlog.
Unplayed Steam games. Steam backlog. Yeah. People will get it.
I don't know if they would. Backlog.
Some people would.
Steaming backlog. It sounds like something else.
I mean,
unplayed Steam games is probably
still a good name for a band.
Steaming backlog.
It's still a good name. Yep. Somebody work on that.
Yeah. So I want to hear your
That's the cover
tape.
band.
Yep. Send us your demo tape when you guys do a take of it.
That would be a cover band for Primus.
Yeah. And no, Al, you don't have to buy them. They're demos. You just play it. You don't have to pre-order. You just try it and you go, yep, that's a bag of shite. I'm never going to buy it. Or you go, hey, yeah, I'd like to throw some money at you, but I still don't trust you enough to pre-order. Because don't trust. Friends do not let friends pre-order. We live in a society where you just do not pre-order anymore.
I pre-ordered the new System Shock.
Starfield will be.
I pre-ordered the new System Shock.
I kickstarted it. That's different.
I did too. See? All right. We agree.
Because then that's just gambling. I mean, is it going to come out? Is it not going to come out? I don't know. But hey, here's the
I was very tempted to start pre-order. Well, I know that I'm going to probably buy the Cyberpunk expansion, and so I was tempted to pre-order it, but I haven't yet. And then I saw the trailer for the new Star Wars game that's coming out next year, and I figured, I will probably end up pre-ordering that because I know that I'm going to buy it when it comes out anyway. So, if I get extra stuff from pre-ordering, I might pre-order it because I'm apparently addicted to Star Wars.
I mean, fair, but
Kent,
this is how we ended up with the prequels, was people pre-ordering.
Kent, you make a really good point. Sebastian is the only one not wearing a Star Wars themed shirt tonight.
Not true.
Oh my God. I had not noticed that.
This is Robbie Burns.
He's gone to plaid.
in the shape of a Glencairn glass.
Well, it did sort of look like the
opening crawl. It looks like the opening crawl.
That I didn't know it was the opening.
Oh, no,
it looked like the opening crawl.
And it's Robbie Burns' Ode to Scotch.
All right.
The sleeper hits of Summer Game Fest 2023 is the name of this story at Ars Technica. Are there any good ones, or is this just...
Well, the point here is that if mainline gaming and what everybody else is playing is just not your cup of tea, these games actually do seem to rate, but not a lot of people have found or are playing them yet. And it's a little bit offbeat, some of them, such as the one you're at.
Foam Stars, yeah.
It's PS5, PS4, PS5.
Oh, it's a Splatoon-like.
Yeah, Splatoon-like.
A genre. Okay.
Well, Splatoon itself was kind of a hit and had a bit of a unique concept in some ways, so I can see some people aping it. But there's some more serious pieces here, like Immortals. Anyway, we'll provide the link in the show notes and things of that nature. But these are some indie titles that may be worth your time to take a look if playing a game that everybody else is playing is just like so passe that you couldn't bear it. Try these.
It's just not cool. It's not cool to like mainstream stuff.
Yep.
Okay, something about EA Sports here. I don't know why we're linking to... Okay, never mind. Something about EA Sports here. EA Sports and EA Games splitting apart in an internal shakeup. What is happening?
Divorces are always so sad.
Well, even when it's EA?
Okay, maybe you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see EA break up with EA a lot. And not just sports, but, just the whole company, because they keep ruining things.
Well, good news.
Yeah,
The Old Republic is moving to a third-party developer. Star Wars, the Old Republic is moving out. But anyway, keep going. It's moving out. They're divorcing, and that game is moving out.
EA Games, the travesty of our generation, apart from, Bethesda and a couple of other people I can mention, is divorcing from EA Sports, the division that just makes money hand over fist. From football to American
F1.
football, F1, NHL,
soccer.
They do, Madden makes money every time.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time. The FIFA, it's hand over fist. So, yeah, I can't imagine why EA Sports didn't give the big middle finger earlier and just say, you know what? We're going to move into this mansion and you guys, you can be our gardeners. EA Games, you can hang out in the garden shed and, still say you're affiliated with us. And yes, Serbini, you're right. FIFA is the most corrupted organization on the planet, possibly. I mean, there's a couple of runners up here. I don't want to, we might want to be in the Olympics someday, so I don't want to shove them out of the way. But yeah, so FIFA has stolen that, but they're still going to make so much money off of F1, PGA, baseball, NHL. Apparently, they're going to go into college football again. I'd heard rumors about this, U.S. college football, which will be insane.
It will be very expensive because U.S. college athletes can now actually get money for their likeness rights.
Yes.
Oh,
you can't give them any gifts, but their likeness they can actually make money off of.
Yep.
Finally, in Gaming Quick Hits, the Diamond Collection at Fanatical. Let's see, great games for as little as $4.60 each.
Yeah. No, Mirror PC turned me on to this one. Credit due where credit is due. But yeah, there's actually some interesting ones in here. I mean, if you don't have Dishonored 2, you can pick that up. Encased, interesting role-playing game. Fallout 4, I mean, no one's ever bought that before.
No.
I tried the demo of Road Warden. It seemed interesting, but never actually did buy it. Shotgun King seems amusing. It's chess, but not. The Call of Cthulhu game, I did try it.
Oh, it was...
Yeah.
Why can no one ever create a good Cthulhu Mythos game?
I know, right?
I tried that game, and the thing that immediately threw me was it was first person, but the voice actor for your first person was unbelievably bad. So I was able to just push past that for a couple of hours into the game, and the plot, it was just so bad. Everything was so bad, and I stopped that and returned it. And then I tried the Sinking City game, and that one was just as bad, except it was over the shoulder instead of first person. They were both terrible, and it's like, this property has just tons of rich stuff you could pull from to create a fantastic game. The closest good game I've seen to something based on Cthulhu Mythos was Control, And that really wasn't based on Cthulhu Mythos, but it had sort of some of the same ideas in it.
Yeah, I still need to play that one. And then I tried The Wasted Land, which was more of a turn-based shooter thing. And no, it was more just, you're in trenches and you're fighting against hordes of possessed things. And then just, there was no real RPG to it. There was no character development except you went solely insane and then would suddenly, just start shooting your own people. There were a couple of rituals you could learn, which were good for like one time, maybe two times to take out the large hordes of enemies coming at you. And then the spellcaster went insane and was an enemy. It was just like, at least it sort of held that sort of continual madness thing, but it wasn't fun to play at all.
Let's move to picks of the week. Normally we start with Josh. Josh isn't here. Jeremy has the most seniority.
Tilting at windmills.
Jeremy has most seniority, so we were going to go with Jeremy.
And I'm going to I switched my pick from something that it was just a sort of a cheap X3D Ryzen processor up here in Canada to, we were talking about Best Buy earlier. And there is, as long as you pay attention, something really nice about the Best Buy website. Their refurb is actually exceptional. I have bought probably half a dozen machines for random people who are like, I've got $400 to $500 to spend and that's it. But I want to be able to do some things. And so their laptops and their desktops, as long as you look and make sure that the refurb place offers, again, at least the 3-month warranty and has more than 0 reviews, I have not had a bad experience with this yet. I have found some very decent deals on it that I've been able to set people up with. It's when you're stuck with someone because, as we've said many times before, I need a new laptop. And I need to tell you about the specs. No, all you care about is the price. You've got a price for the laptop you want to spend, and that's what you're going to get. I'll tell you that brand new, you can get this. A refurb, you can actually get that. Okay, well, I don't trust the refurb. Fine, get the brand new one. Be happy. But I have not yet had a bad buy from the Best Buy refurb. Because I've had less bad buys from the Best Buy refurb than I have from Best Buy. So it's worth poking around. The good ones do not last long, because if there are people like me that know about this stuff. But yeah, you can grab some really nice deals. The save $30 on a Surface, don't do that. I'd be tempted to save $1,400 on the Alienware, except that is relatively old, and I wouldn't trust the seller because there's no reviews. Sort it by stars. Take a look around. You can actually find some good stuff. And no, there's probably not any cockroaches on it. Or at least I have never run into cockroaches before.
That was a response to a YouTube suggestion that there's potentially roachware.
I mean, hey,
Nice.
I have fixed computers where things came out of them.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, if you
I
spend
can
enough time
understand
on desktop computers, you're going to find some strange things.
But no, if you've got a friend or family member that has a very limited budget and wants something, Best Buy refurb ain't that bad.
All right.
Brett?
I like what you said about checking the reputation of the seller, though, because that's everything.
Oh, God, yeah. No,
It's
you
not
will
Best
see some
Buy refurbishing
amazing
these.
deals.
It's third party.
On like a
Sort by stars was a good call, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Unless the
I haven't
ratings
been
are
burned,
fake,
but all I'm looking at is, save $1,400 on this thing. And you've never actually sold anything before?
Yeah. Do you even know how to ship things? Do you know what you're doing at all?
No, you got to drive to Kalamazoo to pick it up. It's a guy named Sebastian selling it.
I know how to ship. I'm okay. Who's next? Is it Brett?
It's me. I don't think that we've held back in any way in espousing our enthusiasm for the ongoing AM4 platform and socket. I really don't. I think we've made that fairly clear that we're AM4 enthusiasts, and we still think that there is a legitimate reason to go out and probably build a new one. You're going to be gaming happy if that's your jam. With one of those boards. So I came up with a very reasonably priced Asus. I'm going to say it that way because that's the way I say it. Asus Tough $200+ board, normally priced for 136, 137 essentially, from Woot right now. And it's I noticed that the board is now sold out. So forget everything that I've just said. Unfortunately, earlier tonight, it was eminently available. Apparently, the deal was too good.
It was too hot.
Now, that deal has passed. That time has passed. I've enjoyed talking about it anyways. It did exist. Maybe it will exist again. Check back.
And if you're listening to the recorded version of this, it might be back in stock.
Well,
It
I
might
mean,
be.
there are great AM4 deals anyway, so just look around.
It happens.
But
It happens.
if you've
This was a
considered
nice board.
AM5, if you're thinking about taking the plunge and getting DDR5 memory and getting one of those new processors, just get a 5800X3D and an AM4 board, and you'll be perfectly fine.
Be
That was my
very,
original pick.
very happy. Very happy. These are PCIe 4.0 boards, generally speaking.
Yeah,
You're going to enjoy them a lot.
more than anyone needs. You don't need 5.0.
No, you
There's
don't.
virtually nothing on 5.0, and there won't be for a couple of years. But by
Sebastian
then, there'll be
can't even
7.0 on the latest boards.
Sebastian can't even extract maximum performance from the fabulously fast, speedy, crucial NVMe drive on legitimate PCIe 5.0 boards. So that's not ready for
Do you
prime
need
time.
that hassle? You don't need that hassle.
It's not.
But you know what you do
not worth
need?
it.
Kent, your pick.
Well, in a perfect follow-up to Brett, I saw what his pick was going to be on the dock and started looking, and I found the aforementioned 5800X3D on Amazon for $307. Oh my gosh, it's actually gone down since I linked it before. It was $307.43 before. Now it's $307.07. And this is ships from and sold by Amazon. It's not some crazy seller you've never heard of. But they've also even got combos, it looks like, since Brett's board is sold out. They've got an ROG Strix B550 in combination with the 5800X3D for $489.
And look at this,
Actually,
the
Kent,
tough. There's the tough.
That is the X570 board that
They
I was
pulled it to
recommending
put
in
it
my
in this
pick.
bundle. You know, Amazon owns Woot,
which is
right?
517 now.
I'm going to agree with Sebastian here, and there's some
See, ships
sleight
and
of hand
sold by
going on.
Amazon. Their bundle, you get that board for
Yeah.
just over $100. That's $110.
Well, they actually have, if
That
you look
is
down,
sweet.
if they're actually showing a Strix B550 board that's even less than that in combo. So
under
Strix- yeah, Strix
$500. You've got your CPU, you've got your motherboard taken care of.
That's
That's
an
just
F.
incredible.
It's an F class board though. So, but that's fine.
Yeah, there's
That's
nothing wrong
fine.
with that.
No, nothing wrong.
yeah, that board does not have Wi-Fi, but some people don't need Wi-Fi. But still, that you could buy that last gen processor, last gen chipset, and you're still going to not miss anything in gaming.
Kent,
You'll be
I'm not sure
absolutely pleased.
I'm not sure you're a serious gamer if you're gaming over Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
put that
I was
out
going to
there.
say we gotta put a wired connection on that PC.
I mean,
Yeah.
do you like packet loss?
Yeah, I mean,
Do you like latency?
Do you like?
would you
Do
rather
you like
download?
turnaround?
Would you rather download it
latency?
100 megabytes per second or 60, 65, depending on the day? It's just, I mean,
Tell us how you really feel about half duplex and antenna hopping and frequency hopping and sharing. And
So here's
turnaround time. Nemo.
So here's the reason I bring that up. So my PC is always connected to our router with a hard line. every computer I build for someone, they always want, it doesn't matter if it's a monstrous desktop with water cooling, they want it to have Wi-Fi capability.
Of course.
Sure.
And their modem is on the desk beside the computer, of course.
Where it can
Possibly.
overwhelm with signal. Sebastian, your pick tonight.
Yeah, my pick is, it was a necessity because, well, not a necessity. I have an old scanner. Every once in a while, you need to scan things. I know that this modern generation of Gen Z people think that a scan is putting a document down and then awkwardly taking a slightly out of focus picture of it with your hand with like, you know. But actual flatbed scanners are useful for scanning in documents, for, you know, scanning in the occasional photograph, whatever. And I have one. I have a ScanMaker i320 from Microtech.
Ooh.
And it is very old. I bought it on clearance probably 18 to 20 years ago. And it sits on a shelf in my basement until I need to make a scan. And then I have to fire up a Windows XP virtual machine, access the USB device from that, install the driver. It never had any support beyond XP. This is the case with a lot of scanners. Perfectly good hardware that there's never any support beyond Windows XP. So I finally gave in and said, enough. I'm going to get a Windows 10 compatible scanner. And it's not a super high-end scanner by any means. But
it's changed your life?
It's made my life a lot easier. This thing is just USB-C.
$80?
It's cheap. It's 40,
all right.
It scans up to 600 DPI, which is fine. That's what my old one did. And it's just your typical really cheap flatbed scanner. This one's from Canon. It's the LIDE. I don't know how to pronounce that. LIDE 400. There's a 300 and a 400. The 400 is double the resolution, so I recommend that for like $20 more. For $81 on Amazon, this thing connects with just a single USB-C cable. It handles power and the connection. And it's fairly fast. It's essentially the scanner element from one of their all-in-ones.
Yeah.
They're multifunction.
Except it's...
you can buy it separately, and it's, you know, inexpensive for what it is. I think that'll do it for our podcast this week. I want to thank you for tuning in and possibly even watching and listening this far. If you have, I am amazed.
There's so much breakage that happened between
and I really
back
hope
there and here.
you appreciated how all of us stood still for at least a little while and had to reconnect.
Yes. There's some errors made. There's been some internet connectivity issues for some of us, some microphone issues. But you know what? We did it. We did it live. We did it for you. And we're going to do it again next week. I think Josh will be back. It's going to be, who knows what's going to happen. Who knows what new graphics cards there might be to talk about. Anything like that. Who knows?
Very exciting.
But anyway, until then, good night.
Good night.